Hi there. Welcome to the LEWCO webinar on Belt Conveyors 101. My name is Miguel Armendariz, and my coworker, Jason Fresh, will be handling the chat room in case you have any questions or anything. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Just a reminder as well, LEWCO will be closed tomorrow, so we will not be able to answer calls tomorrow. Requests for quotes or anything like that, but just continue to send them in through email or through fax as far as your requests and orders, okay? So just a quick reminder on that. Okay, today we're going to be talking about belt conveyors. We're going to be talking about the common belt conveyor that you see here up on the top with an end drive, and also the floor-to-floor conveyor that you see there on your left. There are several types of belt conveyors that we manufacture here at LEWCO. One version is a slider belt conveyor. The other one is a roller bed conveyor. And as I mentioned before, the floor-to-floor, as we said before. We're also going to be talking about where and when to use these, any type of application information, and also LEWCO features and benefits. Many of you may recognize my voice already because I've done several of these webinars before in the past, and they're all uploaded onto our website, including how to use the sales portal, the CDLR. Jason has done a couple of these webinars as well. So hopefully you'll find these informative and they help you obtain more orders out there. Where we use these belt conveyors is basically all industries: warehouse, distribution, manufacturing, dealing with parcel order fulfillment, aerospace, government, military, automotive, appliance, cabinetry, furniture, and food and beverage as well. One thing to keep in mind regarding the parcel handling, we are approved suppliers for UPS and FedEx. Just wanted to toss that out there for you guys in case that's some of the companies that you do some quoting for. We are approved for that. So let's start with our belt conveyors here. Slider roller bed, mesh and plastic belt. There's light and heavy duty. Our standard belt width, depending on the model that you'd like, starts out as thin as 6 and goes as wide as 72 inches. Obviously, we have been asked for some belt widths to be narrow, some of them to be wider than this, in which case they are considered non-standard, and yes, we can do those as well. We have different frame styles as well. We can do the channel conveyor and also the form channel conveyor, the box conveyor. And we're also going to be talking about V-guiding as well. And those of you who have no idea what V-guiding is about, that's what this webinar is about, to teach you about that. Bed constructions. You had heard me mention a couple times about slider beds and roller bed conveyors. Your slider bed conveyors are pretty much a solid foundation that the belt will slide up against. It's basically friction. Usually the underside of the belt is lesser friction than the upper because obviously you want it to slide on the sheet metal, and you want it to make sure that it grabs hold of your product that is being conveyed. These are good for light to medium duty. A lot of it depends on the length, how much load it is going to be, how much load will be on there, if it's an evenly distributed load or if it's a pretty high pressure point load. In this case, this is a end drive. As you can see, the belt will actually be traveling in this direction. You always want to pull a belt, you never want to push it. The second type outside of a slider bed is a little bit more heavy duty, and that would be your roller bed for your heavier loads. And basically the roller spacing, you have rollers that actually provide a lot less friction as opposed to the slider bed, so things do roll a lot smoother on them. And as far as the roller spacing is concerned, it varies from 3, 6, 9, possibly even 12. So it all depends on what it is that you're conveying, how much pressure is being put on the belt itself. will determine the size of the belt and also the size of the belt, but the size of the roller and also the roller spacing as well. So those are all factors. Just like in any type of material handling, it's important to know your product that you are going to be conveying. Size, weight, and what is the conveying surface. Does it have is it pallets? Does it have little pinpoints? Does it have feet or legs? It's very important to know as much information about your conveying surface as possible. In addition to the roller and slider beds, we also have the special bed constructions where we have a trough. In this case, it's a roller trough. It's also available in the slider trough as well. And I'm sure you've seen these where it's usually something circular, something granular that is being carried. And that's where we can design this to be in the trough area as well. Herringbone is usually when we're dealing with some type of moisture or somebody wants to dry something. They want to allow air to basically pass through onto the product or moisture to expel away from it. And that's where we get into the herringbone designs down here. As far as belt direction is concerned, like I mentioned before, you always want to pull a belt so your product is going to be going towards the motor and drive system itself. So we're actually pulling this belt and the product will be going in this direction. You never really want to push a belt. There are special circumstances where if they want the belt to travel in both directions, left and right, we will move the drive into the center portion of it, where that way it's only doing it technically wrong way, halfway through as opposed to all the way through. That would be the only instances, and those are special and few and far between. So make sure you keep in mind that you always want to pull a belt, you never want to push it. As far as the construction of a belt curve, some of you may not know this. There's actually little sprockets underneath the guard here, and the belt itself actually has little grommets on it that go into the sprocket teeth and help it guide all the way along here. And you notice the pulleys are tapered a bit as well. Belt curve is good to maintain good product orientation. It's not going to start spinning around or anything like that. The orientation that it goes in will be maintained on it going out. So just to let you know a little bit about the construction of a belt curve, take a look and see the sprocket here underneath. See the framework and the tapered curve there. Now as far as, we have many different types of belts that are available also depending on your application. A couple we have obviously our standard flats, which was in a lot of pictures that you saw earlier. We do have our cleated versions here, where you can see it's usually used on an incline that's used to pull the material up an incline, and it sticks up. Our standard is 1.5 inches. Obviously, it's something that we got to be careful because if they want to go a little bit higher, we want to be talking a special frame design, possibly even a special return roller design as well. We also have wire mesh. As you saw previously, we had some herringbone design framework that allowed the air and the moisture to go through. This is the same thing. The wire mesh is used in a lot of applications where they want to expel the water, or even in a wash-down situation. And also the air. Sometimes people will locate fans in any position around the conveyor. Basically, sometimes it's underneath and it blows up and it cools the item as it goes through. Again, it is important to know what it is that you're conveying, the weight of it, what it's used for, and so that we can determine what belt type would be better for your application. Plastic belt is another version that we did. I recently did a quote on a cleated plastic belt for a customer, and and he's very happy with it. Maybe purchasing several more here in the near future. Basically, we have important things to know about plastic. Is obviously the application, dealing with temperature, dealing with the weight, the size. Plastic belt, is it closed? Do they want it to be solid, or do they want open mesh where they want some moisture or some air to go through? Plastic belting is made in different types of materials. Obviously, we were talking about load as well, and we need to remember that we are talking about a unitized product. We're not necessarily talking about the super high-speed conveyors in a lot of food manufacturers or pallet type area. But instead of dealing with where we're moving the bottle, we are moving the 6-pack, we're moving the 12-pack, we're moving the case. That's what we're moving. You had heard me mention earlier before about V-guided belts. What is a V-guided belt, and why would we ever need one? V-guided belt, as you can see by this illustration here, this is the belt itself, and it has a little V-guide in there. And these pulleys, as you can see, have a V-guide that match up to that. And also the bed of the conveyor is also slitted, so that way it goes through. This maintains belt alignment, but we have to be, when do we have to worry about that? Is basically when we're dealing with a width of a certain amount, and if the length is close to 3 times the width, you may want to start thinking about using a V-guide to make sure that it's properly aligned. Another reason we would like to use a V-belt guide, if the belt is long enough, but we know that a lot of people utilize belt conveyors and they load the belt from the side, either from one side or the other, left hand or right side, and that tends to push the conveyor in one area or one side or the other. So that's where the V-guide comes in handy and just keeps things all lined up. Those are obviously a little bit more expensive, but it does align your belt a lot better. You hear in the conveying world about the difference between the right hand and the left hand drive, and some people just are not sure what that means. So here's what the difference is between a left hand and a right hand drive. Basically, if you stand with the product going away from you, this is a left hand drive. It is on my left side as the product is moving away from me, so it is the left hand drive. Right hand drive is obviously the exact opposite. The product is traveling away from me and the motor is on the right hand drive. So, and the same thing applies with the center drive. This is an end drive. Again, it's pulling the belt, and the same thing applies with center drive as well. So this is how you determine whether it's left hand or right hand on a conveyor. Okay. Obviously, this applies not only to belt, but also chain-driven live rollers, belt-driven live rollers, basically any type of conveying system that you have. Now, one thing that I'd like to talk about here is different type of design examples that we have manufactured here at LEWCO. You'll see different versions with things that are special, things that are standard on these next examples. Here we have a floor-to-floor, where you see the drive-in here. You see a large guardrail going through. You have the feeder, and it goes up into the mezzanine area or the platform area. Has a little nose-over area, and you see how these are connected. So you only deal with one drive on here. So we are able to support, and you see with the different knee braces on here for additional support to make sure everything is steady. And again, this is called a floor-to-floor. A special feature that we can add as well is instead of the item just dropping off into oblivion, we can make an end chute if you'd like with some UHMW on there to make sure things get slide off if it needs to be placed into a bin or anything. We also have the capabilities of making belt conveyors on the portable side of things. where we can add special caster legs on there where you can move them about. This option right here is called a leg tie, and it makes things nice and steady so that way things don't get too shaky or anything. Here we happen to have a photo eye, and again we're actually pulling the belt so the product is traveling in this direction, and it could be that the product is coming in and once it hits this photo eye it stops until somebody picks it up and clears it out, and when that happens the belt continues on and the next product comes by. And again, this is all portable due to the casters. Another option that we provide is also this happens to be a picture of a plastic belt that has an adjustable guide. And as you can see, these adjustable guides can be guided up and down and also back and forth as well. This is obviously a top product that's on this conveyor. And this is just called an adjustable guide, and again, it is one of our options as opposed to the guide being actually connected to the side of the bed. This is what they use usually on items that are a little bit taller, and they need some adjustment on there because they have different types of product, different size products going being conveyed. We have also what's called a belt flap guardrail. If you noticed in the prior, you notice that there is a little bit of conveyor that's off to the side there that is exposed, and there's actually been situations where customers have had products get caught in that area. So what we do is that we manufacture a guardrail with a belt flap on it basically, and it overlaps onto the belt itself, usually made out of the same belt material or something similar. And it prevents and keeps the product onto the belt so that way it doesn't stop or anything. So this is a belt flap guardrail that is available through LEWCO. And obviously you can do a combination. You can put a photo eye, you can put a chute on this thing. So we have all different types of options that are available for our belt conveyors. Variable speed drives, end drives, different horsepowers, different gearboxes are also available. Again, it also depends on your preference and also the application that is being applied on this. So that's pretty well it for the belt conveyor side of things. One thing I do want to mention to everybody is, if you're not already have a sign-on for our customer sales portal, this actually allows you to develop a quote on your own, utilizing a lot of our standard features on the belt conveyors, gravity conveyors, chain conveyors, slide conveyors, basically, and you can even quote out individual guardrails, supports, and everything, as opposed to picking up the phone and talking to us or emailing us and waiting for us to get an answer, because we do tend to get busy and sometimes the responses aren't as quick as we'd all like. This is something that you can handle on your own. And it's also, if the customer, the end user, people that you're dealing with, would like to have a revision done to that quote, instead of going through the same process of giving us a call and again waiting for more information, your customer is waiting for his cost on something that's standard that should be a quick answer, you can actually help them out directly and possibly get that order even quicker than you have if you're waiting for us. The customer portal allows you to quote on your own. You can track your own quotes by tagging it and labeling it with your own customer's name, equipment number, lane number, however you would like. You can make those changes as you'd like. You can even, when you send an order, say you get an order off of a quote that you did off the portal, all you have to do is just reference that quote number on your purchase order. We can go into that quote number, turn that quote into an order, and get it processed quicker as opposed to the normal ways that waiting for us to get everything done. If you would like a password and a username in order to utilize this customer portal, please send us an email at conveyorsales@lewcoinc.com and request access for the customer portal. Jason usually does items like that, so it'll keep him busy, that's for sure. One other thing I wanted to mention as well, as far as utilizing the customer portal, there is a webinar that is on our website that will actually guide you how to use our customer portal. Do not be afraid to listen to that webinar. It does have the slides and screenshots that'll help you guide you to these things. It's going to be frustrating at first, just like anything else, any new type of software that you deal with. Well, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty quick and very accurate. You have your lead time and everything you need to know out there. If for some reason or another you do need something special on there, all you have to do is just change the status to waiting on estimating, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that. We look at that 3 times a week, and then we'll be able to make the necessary changes and let you know that the quote is ready so you can send out to your customer. So again, that is the customer portal that is on our website at LEWCOinc.com. Send us an email if you would like access to that. Okay. Basically, that ends the webinar on belt conveyors. Hopefully, you learned a few things. Feel free to give us some feedback on this. If there's anything else you would like to see, maybe we are going to be doing 2 more belt conveyors webinars here in the future, 1 each month. So if there's something else you would like to see or learn about, feel free to drop us a note, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate you. Thank you again, and keep those orders and requests for quotes coming. Have yourselves a great day, great weekend, and a great Easter. Thank you.